What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam once again, hashtag homeless, day 37. And I do have a few updates. Sometimes you wake up, you have a plan, you have some things you want to get done, and then things happen, and I call it the day killer. Sometimes you deal with enough stressful things to where you just lose the ability to focus. And that happened about halfway through the day yesterday. Let's see. So yesterday, I think I talked about having to go to the Department of Social Services, spend my morning there. Went smooth. I was in and out in 15 minutes, just like I thought I would be. Part of it, mostly because of how early I arrived. So I'm shaking my head because I'm remembering some of the people I ran into there. And it was just, it's sad. It's sad. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to sit here and just some people, I can't even like wrap my head around some of the things I see anymore. This town is so dysfunctional. Let's see. So that I was in and out of there, went back to the library. I wasn't really too deep into, I wanted to send out some more resumes. I wanted to apply for some more jobs. Probation officer started, well, he contacted me because he was answering a question that I had asked him the day before. We text message back and forth to keep him up to date. And I had asked, I said, because he was asking me, do you have a place to live in Pittsburgh? Did you find a job down there yet? And I'm trying to be, I'm always polite, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm 300 miles away, 250 miles away from Pittsburgh. I'm not allowed to go there and just walk around and I'm not allowed to leave Jamestown. I'm not allowed to leave this area of New York without paperwork and getting permission and other. I might be able to do it now, but I'm not allowed to just pack up and go and live there. And so I don't know how I'm supposed to find a job from a city 300 miles away. Unless it's a professional job where you're sending resumes and cover letters and you can explain in the cover letter that you are going to be relocating soon. But if I fill out a job application at Burger King in Pittsburgh and they call me the next day and say, hey, can you come in for an interview tomorrow? What am I supposed to do? I'm 300 miles away. Are they even going to call me? I have an address that I can use down there for filling out job applications and having mail sent to and stuff, but I don't, I'm not going to be able to live at that address, but it's at least a little bit of help in that respect. So I could fill out job applications and use a one or two addresses to quote unquote pretend I'm living there. But if some Box Mart or, Burger Mart or, Burger Flop joint, whatever the case may be, they call me in for an interview and I say, no, I can't come in for an interview. Well, there you go. You've wasted that job application, and that's a job that I'm not going to be able to apply to if I move there, because I'm already going to have that reputation of, well, you applied here a month ago and you wouldn't come in for an interview. So I don't think that is illogical. I don't think that makes me lazy. Some people want to accuse me of being lazy. I'm just saying, what am I supposed to do from 300 miles away? My options are limited. So I don't know I think there's a level of understanding there. I don't think he's not threatening me. I think he truly wants to see me get on my feet and, because it's better for everybody. So we kind of went back and forth on that. And then I said, because supposedly the probation office in Pittsburgh doesn't want me unless I have a place to live and a job down there. So I'm kind of like, the way I'm looking at it right now, You've got a group of people up here in New York who have a stack of paperwork related to me on their desk. They want to put that on someone's desk down in Pittsburgh and get rid of it. The people down in Pittsburgh, they don't want that paperwork on their desk. And so they're kind of going back and forth about who's going to get stuck with the stack of paperwork, and I'm in the middle of it. So I decided, I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to go back to plowing and grinding and looking for a job in Jamestown, a full-time job. I don't care where. I'll start filling out applications again. It's been 3 weeks since they told me I have to move, and they still won't tell me when, and everything's up in the air. So I was under the impression that I was going to be in Pittsburgh within a span of 2 weeks or so, and it wasn't worth my time to look for jobs here in Jamestown because I would just have to leave. And so I told him that. I said, look, I haven't really pushed hard to find a job in Jamestown because you told me I had to move to Pittsburgh. I started looking for jobs down there that would be on-site jobs, but these are jobs I have to apply to with a resume and cover letter for, and that way I can explain that I'm not there right now and that I'm relocating very soon. So we kind of went back and forth, and I asked him, I said, do you mind if I continue to apply for jobs here in Jamestown? Because I just want to get back on my feet as soon as possible. I'm in this state of limbo right now, and I just want to find a job. And this is holding me back a little bit. And he said, his reply to me was, well, I would like to see you get a job. I would like to see you find we need to get that done. So he's like, do whatever you have to do to find a job. And I'm like, okay, we're good. And so the ironic timing of the way the Lord works sometimes, it cracks me up. So less than an hour after I had that conversation, another store that I applied to and went through a little bit of an online vetting process, they called me and offered me a job starting next Thursday. Here it's Saturday. They told me that they were going to do a background check, and this was the hiring manager. And so I had a conversation with the hiring manager about what they're going to find on the background check, because it's just, if they're going to run a background check and you don't tell them up front what they're going to find, then forget it. You're not going to get that job, guaranteed. So I told her what happened, and I didn't get into, a great amount of detail, but she told me, she said, look, man, people make mistakes. She said, you're not alone. People have made some mistakes, and it sounds like you paid a pretty heavy price for those mistakes, but people also deserve a second chance. She said, I would not let that stop you from finishing out the paperwork and, submitting your information for the background check. She said, I do need to tell you that corporate headquarters makes the final decision. There we go. Corporate headquarters makes the final decision, but if it was up to me, I would look past this and give you the chance. She said, so I just want you to know, don't hesitate to finish out this process if you're still interested in working here. So I said, okay, thank you for your time, all that kind of stuff. And, wow, my phone's overheating, it's telling me, so it might just cut this off. I don't know. It's hot outside, but whatever. But anyway, so the way I'm looking at it, this is what happened the last time. I went and interviewed in person at this store, had a good rapport with everybody. They hired me on the spot. Everybody I talked to face-to-face thought I was a good guy. I made a mistake. You deserve another chance, etc., etc. Now all of my information's going to go to some corporate turd 3,000 miles away who's going to click, open it up on the screen. Oh, he's got a felony. Click, nope, and throw it in the trash. He's not, there's no humanity. There's no face-to-face. There's no getting to know this person. It's just a corporate guy sitting in front of a screen reading a background check. Oh, felony, gone. And that's, I'm assuming that's what's going to happen between now and next Thursday. But if they do give me a chance, if they are willing to take a chance, the government will give these people money. There are grants, there are bonds, there are all kinds of programs for these companies to hire a convicted felon. So, they have, there's no reason why they should say no, but when your information's going to some corporate person 2,000 miles away, sitting in front of a computer screen, and all they're seeing is what comes up in front of them, click, click, oh, I see he's got a criminal record, click, goodbye. That's what's going to happen. At least, I mean, who knows? Who knows? It's what could happen. I'll put it that way. So, like I said in a video prior to this, it's not real until the money's in the bank. And that includes if I go in there next Thursday and start the job, and I'm wearing the shirt, and I'm coming in day after day to do the job that I'm hired to do, it's still not real until that money is in my bank account, period. But it was kind of nice because not even an hour after my probation officer was telling me, you really need to get a job. And it's not like I'm not trying. I go to the social services department every Friday to turn in what I did to find a job. And it's about 6 or 7, 8.5 by 11 pages worth of information of what I did over the last week after week. Everybody who sees it goes, wow, you did that, all that you did in a week? Yeah. But, I'm just a lazy piece of trash. And, there's some people who will just accuse me of being a lazy piece of trash until I actually accomplish the goal. It doesn't matter if I put 50 hours a week in towards the goal, make progress towards the goal, but don't reach the goal, then you're just a lazy piece of trash until you actually can say you met your goal. That's probably the only thing that people say to me that gets under my skin. And it's because, and part of it is because I can back up, documented what I'm doing down to exact details and time periods, and this is exactly when I applied for this job. This is how much time it took me to apply for it. This is what I did on this day. This is what I did on that day. Here is a list of everything I accomplished every week since I've been out of prison. And I do this because I need to for my own sanity, but also because I knew people were going to be coming at me from every direction, accusing me of being lazy and looking for an excuse to make my life worse than it already is. So I'm backing up everything I say with documentation. But anyway, I got a job offer, and I was able to go back to him and tell him, I said, well, we were just talking an hour ago, but I have a job now. Pending background check. I said, they know about the felony. I told them about it. They said they still have to run a background check, but I'm hired. But, the last time I was told that, they said you're hired, and then the day before I was supposed to start work, they said you're not hired. So it's not real till the money's in the bank. Let's see, the other interview for the big boy job. I heard back that I heard back from the HR director at the company, the recruiter, and she told me she's just waiting to hear the feedback from the CEO that I had the interview with, to make their next move, their next decisions, probably another round of interviews. That's just going to go on for at least another week. And then they'll make me an offer, and then they'll put the paperwork in front of me for a background check, and then I'm going to have to explain what's going to show up in the background check. But the difference in this situation is that I'm talking one-on-one with the person who will be reviewing the background check. I have spoken with these people face-to-face. I've had at least an hour of FaceTime on Zoom with each of the people involved in making this decision. And that background check is not going to be sent to some corporate drone 2,000 miles away to rubber stamp a big no on it and send it back. The people I have already interviewed with and the people I've developed some rapport with, they're the ones that are going to make that decision based on what's in that background check and based on, what I'm able to tell them in terms of my side of the story and what has transpired since. So that gives me a lot more leverage, and it's a much better advantage in the situation because this is the second time where I've spoken to somebody one-on-one at a job, and they've been willing to look the other way and say, we want to give you a chance anyway. We think you're a good person. We think you're smart. We think you would excel. We think you would be a good person to work here, and we understand people make mistakes. But then it goes to corporate drone 3,000 miles away in some office looking at a computer screen, and they just say, nope. Without any consideration at all. Just, this is what's in front of me. I said no. Tough titties, goodbye. And so I'm just going to hold on to some hope because I've got irons in the fire. They keep coming back. The seeds I plant keep sprouting. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know when I'm leaving Jamestown anymore. So I'm just going to start pounding again. And as soon as I start filling out job applications to local businesses and, talking to people, I'll just start racking up interviews left and right. The ratio of interviews that I'm getting is something like, for every 30 job applications I put out for local jobs, I'm getting 10 interviews back. That's a pretty good ratio. When it comes to professional jobs in my line of work, I've put in almost 150 resumes, and I've interviewed with two companies. And one of those companies has been 3 interviews. And in that particular case, that company found me and came to me first. I did not I did not send my resume. But when you're looking at jobs online right now, in my line of work, there's tons of jobs. There's tons of them, hundreds of them. But the problem is because you can filter these jobs by when they were posted. And so if I say posted within the last 24 hours, you click on it and it will say there's over 100 applicants. So every time one of these jobs is posted within 2 hours, they have over 100 applicants. And it's because all the jobs in my line of work have shifted to being remote. It's kind of it's a good thing and a bad thing. Companies realized when they started pushing everybody out to work remotely, and I've been working remotely since 2015. That had nothing to do with COVID. That's how it worked out for me in my career. The companies started to realize, big company in Rochester, New York wants to hire designers, developers, those kinds of people. How big is the talent pool for that work in Rochester, New York? And how many other companies are you competing for getting that talent if you're only hiring people who live in Rochester, New York? Now, what if you say your entire company can work remotely as long as the job supports that? Now your talent pool, you've opened up your talent pool to the entire world, literally. At the company I worked at in Rochester, it was a 60-person design team. And I had 5 people reporting to me. One lived in Seattle. One lived in Arizona. One lived in Buffalo. 2 of them lived in Rochester, New York, and I lived in Pittsburgh. And on this, in terms of the entire 60-person team, you had people from Argentina, from Spain, from Portugal. You had people from all over the United States on this team. And so from a business standpoint, allowing people to work remotely helps you because you can hire a lot more. You have a lot more talented people to pick from. But on the flip side, when you're a remote worker and you're applying to a job like that, you're also competing against everybody else in the world, not just everybody in your own city. So the competition is a lot more fierce for these jobs, and you have to do a lot more to get noticed, especially if you are sending resumes to apply for a job. The way I see it, you have to be one of the first 10 people to get your resume in their hands, because after 10 to 20 resumes, they're not even looking at them anymore. And so if they're getting 300-400 resumes submitted for a job post on Indeed or LinkedIn or one of these, and you're number, 172 out of the 300, they're not going to look at you. They've already queued up 5 or 6 people out of the first 30 resumes that came in to call in for interviews. They've already made that decision. They've already moved the ball forward, and everybody after resume 32, let's say, is put in a waiting line, a queue, that, well, if these first 10 people that we interview don't work out, we'll dig deeper into the pile and see what we can pull out. So there are advantages and disadvantages to this. Your professional networks that you've built in your local community aren't as valuable as they used to be. But in some cases, I think developing relationships with recruiters and people like that are helpful, because they can get you past the gauntlet. They can get your foot in the door. They can get you past this whole circular file of resumes and get your information in front of people better than you can. And they're motivated financially to do that. And if they're a good recruiter, they're making a lot of money off of getting you placed somewhere, but they're going to make sure that you get compensated fairly and that you get a good salary and a good compensation package. The good recruiters aren't there to rip you off. There are some unscrupulous recruiters that are out there to lowball you and to take a bigger cut for themselves and to, just get bodies in the chairs, if you will. But you can tell the difference between the two types with a few conversations. So, I'm trying to develop some of those relationships. I'm trying to reach out to people, because word of mouth, people like to hire people they know before they reach out to hire strangers. And with recruiters, they can get you in front of people. You can skip the line. It's like having a fast pass at Disney World. You get to go right to the front of the line and jump on the ride. And so, but it's still going to be up to you to make a good impression and to get through their gauntlet of interviews and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on. Maybe there's some good information, some good tips for somebody in all of this. I'm going to try and take some notes. I think this weekend is going to be a little bit more chill. I'm going to work on some things that I want to do today and tomorrow. And I'm just going to try to relax and cool my nerves and just kind of get into a good place of zen, and just try to hold on to some hope that, these job opportunities that I'm hoping that this job pans out. The one that I've gone on 3 interviews for. I don't see, at this point, the only thing that's going to stop me is a Google search on my name. And I'm assuming they've done that by now, but maybe they haven't. And, if that doesn't come through, then, maybe this job that I'm supposed to start next Thursday is real and bona fide. And, it won't put a lot of money in my pocket, but in a month or two, I can certainly save up enough to, if I can find an apartment in Pittsburgh and pay for it. And this is a national company, so there's a good chance that if I work there for a month or two, that I can just put in an application to transfer to Pittsburgh and have a job waiting for me when I get there, and have the money to move right into an apartment And I do have people in Pittsburgh who can help me find an apartment. I don't have a place to live, but I have people that can boots on the ground. I have some boots on the ground that can go and scout out a place for me to live and possibly help grease the skids. Friend of a friend knows somebody, this kind of, that kind of stuff. I've already got some of that going on. I know somebody who, somebody told me that they know somebody who has a felony, who lives in an apartment, who has a landlord who owns a lot of properties, and the apartments are very reasonably priced, and maybe he has something available. I'll look into that. I'll talk to this person who can talk to the landlord, who can talk back to me, and I'll tell you, and that kind of stuff. So that'll help. I might be able to get some help from a few people, or at least one person, to cough up the move-in cost if I can't do it all myself. So there's a chance that all this is going to work out smoothly, and I'm just trying to have faith. And if God wants me to be near my kids and wants me to go back to Pittsburgh and get away from all of the bad memories that Jamestown has for me, then so be it. Believe me, if I had a choice, I would be in Pittsburgh right now. I would not be sitting here in Jamestown 1 minute longer than I have to. So with that said, I'm going to check out. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.